So how do you feel? Like just your day-to-day life?
Man, like I've been doing a lot of different shit. So I do feel much better. I feel more confident and more happy because I've been going to the gym and eating better and, taking my vitamins and fucking protein and creatine, all the shit. So I'm trying to I feel much better because of that, I think. So it might be masking some of the feelings of the testosterone. I don't know.
Well, how were you feeling before? Were you sad mentally? Were you just had no energy physically?
Yeah, just achy and sore and just felt old.
Huh.
But I have never done anything to take care of myself. I've gotten 40 years out of my life of not doing a fucking thing.
But since I've known you, you've been somewhat conscious of your diet, and you've worked off.
Yeah, but since I've known you, the reason why I stopped sugar is because I went off the deep end and had a fucking binger, and realized that it was the amount of sugar I was putting in my body and why I was really feeling achy and I was having a hard time getting on and off the floor and getting out of bed.
How does Lala get away with it? He eats sugar all the time, and he looks fantastic.
Yeah, he's got good genes.
And salt, too. A lot of salt.
This is the health issue. This is the Mounttried physical fitness episode. We're going to go around the table and complain about
Well, I think that's what's great about you, Warren, is you don't have secrets. And to talk about your health. And Scott, we haven't talked, but I'm sure you're budding. Are you 40 yet?
No, I'm 33.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm a rough 33.
This is at the little kids' table.
Okay.
But we are still 25 in our brains, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you wake up and you're like, holy shit, when did I get so old?
Yeah.
And so it sounds like you found the fountain of youth.
And I'm agreeing with you. I feel like the things that you're talking about are the same things, and I want to start to build some new habits that are going to be better for myself in the long run.
I think a lot of it is habits. I am happy with myself because I can drag my ass out of bed at 5:30 in the morning to go to the gym every day. That makes me feel better about myself. Plus, I get to go to the gym and gain those benefits, and then you stack a bunch of that stuff in together, it means something.
Yeah, well, that's impressive too, because you work a physical job on top of doing physical things for fun.
Yeah. But my job is it'll be spurts of, right? So sure. Not warmed up, not the wrong way to be physical.
Right.
So if I got away with 40 years of that, and now my shoulders are starting to deteriorate, and I'm I just feel worse. So now I need to backpedal a little bit.
Do it the right way.
Yeah. Try to gain some more muscle in my core and my shoulders so that I can fuck around that at work.
Yeah.
I suppose you forgot that you played sports at a high level, and that takes a toll. I remember hearing that, our muscles are growing as a society, but our ligaments and joints are still the same. And you're a big guy. That's a lot of pressure on those joints.
Yeah, all my stuff goes faster.
Wait, sports at a high level?
No.
I don't know anything about that.
It wasn't that high level.
Ask him about any sport that's happening right currently, though, but he has no idea.
None. Okay. I do watch the recaps on SportsCenter in the gym now, so I know a little bit about what's going on in the NBA currently.
What sport was your thing? Football?
Football and baseball.
How far did you get?
I almost played D2 college football.
Okay.
And just gave up because I didn't want to sit on the scout team and
totally
get my ass kicked.
Makes sense.
I just wanted to party.
Yeah, right.
Which was stupid because I think partying in football would have been a great thing in college.
Totally. It's weird though, because hearing about professional sports, I worked in sports for a while too, but just the hierarchy to getting into it and make money doing it, you'll be on the bottom rung for a long time. Have you seen that documentary about Michael Jordan?
Real.
Michael Jordan Rides the Bus. Have you seen that?
No, I've never heard about it.
Oh, so it's about him going from basketball, being a superstar, and then retires he played AAA ball for a while, and just what a struggle it is to be down there. But anyway, I digress.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a good documentary. Check it out.
Did you play sports?
Not at a good level. No, I was on the football in high school, but I just kind of hung out for a while.
I think back a lot, man. I could have been a lot better if I would have had somebody pushing or started all of what I'm doing right now and been serious in the gym and focused a little bit more. I've always been really good. It just being good enough to just skate.
Right.
With everything. Football.
I played baseball, but it was like I got bored of it because then, music comes in and you want to be cool and like play shows with your friends in your other friend's basement, and that was more fun. And
yeah,
being one person of 5 was a lot easier to be a part of than one person of like 50 and like
yeah.
Yeah. Wait, did they know about good habits in the 70s for physical fitness?
Well, Scott,
No.
I was born in 81, so you might have to help me with that answer.
A philosophy, this is nothing new, but it's new for me, of striving to be the best version of yourself. At this day and age, this moment in time, Warren, at 42, you are the best version of yourself. Is
Mental and physical, yeah, I've been working on it a lot, and I need you guys' help to keep pushing my ass, because I think, man, like I still get jolts like touching a can of soda, right? It's like there's this something
that's
in
your
you
addiction?
That doesn't go away, just to let you know.
Fuck, man, it's so like
the struggle is real.
I think quitting
It's
alcohol
scary.
and replacing it with these seltzers, I probably drink 12 of these a day.
oh yeah.
Really?
Not the tall boys, but the small ones.
But I feel like that's kind of normal. Like when people quit drinking, they immediately like gravitate towards like sugar or
Candy.
something. Yeah, especially sugar, right?
Sure.
well, alcohol breaks down to sugar, right? It's the same.
Yeah, I
thing.
suppose because it's the same like vibe without the buzz.
Well, let's get started here. Ain't nobody got time for all of these things. We got enough tape in the machine.
Yeah.
I feel like this one's gonna be a long one. We should just
Maybe you want to sit down, Mr. Producer.
Yeah.
Dust is
So this is the Mama Tried Flat Out Friday podcast.
all right.
And you're on the other side of the camera today.
Yeah, this feels just
What do you
as-
think?
Whatever.
It probably should be described that Brian and Geared Science is, the man behind the podcast.
Integral
right?
part of the Mama Tried
Everybody might not know that.
audio world.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, it's
It
nice
is
to have you on
weird though,
this
because
side.
whenever anyone comes in, like Jade came in last time and she was like, I don't know, and then like I'm like, it's fine, it's great, it's easy, don't worry about it.
Super
I'm just
easy,
like,
yeah.
I lied. I've been lying to every one of you, for which I apologize.
Are you feeling a little?
No, I feel fine. It's just like
Yeah.
a weird. I'm gonna have to edit this and have to hear my stupid fucking voice.
That would be
So
tough.
I should
That would
make
be
Logan
tough.
edit this one now.
Yeah, maybe that's a good idea.
Of course, we were going to introduce Brian, but I had a little bit of housekeeping.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's right.
Well, Scott or Warren, last time we did a podcast a week ago, I had asked Scott about the Harley 120th that's coming up.
Yeah.
And we haven't talked about it at all. We haven't talked very much at all about what's going on for the Harley 120th here in Milwaukee. But there's a little bit of chatter, just personal, and I see on the internet, of why is Mama Tried Flat Out Friday not being more active? Why are we not vocal? Why aren't we having a hooligan race or a show?
No, I mean we're going to be active. We have activations at the Harley Museum. We will be on site with our full merch get up. We'll be interacting with folks like Jeff at V2 and Visionary and Boys from Prism and Pat from Lead Sled. Everybody's going to be in town. We'll be at the museum. We'll also
Randy
have
Detroit.
Yeah, Randy Detroit is having a show. It's really, I think for us, it's we don't want to be super locked down, because this is a really awesome time for Milwaukee and for us, and to be stuck at a booth all day long or having obligations is not my idea of how to experience this weekend, because it's a pretty special weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's coming in, and we want to be able to.
We want to be good hosts.
Yeah.
Yeah, well
Yeah.
said.
Our museum exhibit will be open for a month too. So like we're going to be all over the city, whether we're not shouting it from the rooftop or we're not shouting it from the rooftops. But there's some stuff going on at Iron Horse again with the Litas, and we're gonna have a lot of fun.
There was Flat Out Friday's been asked, why are we not doing a hooligan race? And well, two things. We've learned this from experience. You have to lose your ass to learn.
Absolutely.
And when there's a lot of things going on, why throw another thing in there and
Yep.
fight against the Foo Fighters?
Yeah.
We're gonna fight against Green Day for
Yeah.
tickets. No,
No.
But there are hooligan races, and I think I wanted to mention that to anybody that's following. On Wednesday, they're doing that the Elkhorn Half Mile. Right.
Oh, really? Fantastic.
So
That's
just
great.
45 minutes south of Milwaukee on that Wednesday. That was July 12th.
I'm gonna knock the dust off the bikes and go ride them things.
We should. I love that track.
It'd be fun.
Yes, that's Danny Verana promotes that. I'm not sure who the promoter is, but you can use your fancy smartphones.
I'm assuming.
Find out more details on that. And then Saturday night is Astalon, our favorite track or my favorite track. It has a hooligan class.
On Saturday night?
On Saturday night. Yeah.
Might be a tough one for us to attend, but for people that are coming in town.
Yeah, both of those. I won't be there on Wednesday.
Yeah.
For the hooligan race, but if you're coming into town, you're coming up from Tennessee, from Florida, you want to throw your hooligan bike in the back. There's stuff for it to do.
Stuff to do.
Yes.
Also,
Thanks.
probably just so people know from back home, during Harley Week, you could ride your hooligan around town, and no one's gonna say shit about
Yeah,
it.
they're. I mean, yeah, it's not a secret that the police are there just to maintain, a little bit of peace. They don't,
No, you could.
Yeah.
I've been there when people have rolled their motorcycles up to the bumper of a police car and done a burnout in traffic. While the cop is in the car putting his thumb out the window. That's a reality.
Yeah, it's a really special time to be in Milwaukee.
It's a very cool time, and and if you're riding a Harley Davidson, you pretty much get it. Unless you're really fucking up, you get a jail free card.
I remember in front of Hi Hat, the cops were trying to drive through I don't know if they were closing time. They're trying to drive, and it's wall-to-wall people. Cop car rolls through. Women jumped on it. All the pictures going, taking her top off. Well, the cops are in there, just slowly moving, and there's a woman on the hood of the car.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive, Brian. What a time to be alive. Hey, I want to mention one more thing. Is I rode in here today to the shop. I rode my chopper. Is it a 96 Sportster?
On one cylinder.
On one cylinder. Yes. And I want this legend to build, Warren, because people.
Hold on.
I'm no chopper.
What's wrong with it?
God, it's a long story.
We're gonna say
Was
this
the
for another
spark plug
podcast.
unplugged or?
Just
Okay,
hold on.
we'll get into it later.
Hold on. The interviews come this way.
Okay.
Speaking of that, there's been a request by a person that will leave unnamed to come on the podcast and have the roles reversed. He'd like to be the host.
Sure.
And mainly want to interview you.
All right, let's do it. He can come on me or come on the podcast.
Make note of that one.
Okay.
Oops. We won't cut that out.
Yeah, no, that's going to go a lot further.
There's the commercial.
Oh boy.
Okay. Let's stay focused, though. I want my legend to build, and I want to build this legend. I've often said I don't know anything about Mama Trotter. I'm not a chopper guy, although I appreciate it, and I am learning. I'm into racing, and I love racing. But I did ride my single-cylinder 96 Sportster here today, and I challenged Danger Dan, who said he wanted to ride on the most dangerous roads in the world. Do you remember him? There's a podcast in the South, and he's never ridden down 27th and Hampton. Have you seen the road?
Yeah.
It looks like as bad of a road I would have seen in the rural area of Mexico.
Yeah. Actually, the rural areas of Mexico have pretty decent roads. So way better than the city of Milwaukee.
Just there last week, and they weren't too bad.
Yeah, pretty good.
In Mexico?
Yeah.
But I'm going a little deeper. It's not the neighborhood. It's not the people. I'm comfortable in a poor neighborhood, and there's nothing. I'm not making any statement that way. I'm just saying that the roads are rough, and the driving in 2023 is a bit
Mad Max.
Oh,
stuff.
it's
Mad
crazy
Maxy.
around here.
And I said this philosophy to you, Scott. We're not going to go deep on this philosophy, but I'm going a philosophy. I'm going to put out there. When you come to a stoplight in the city of Milwaukee and it is green and red, I find that to be more dangerous than when you come to a stoplight and it's blinking yellow, because the anarchy of it causes everyone to be cautious and not rely on the mores, which are dead.
You never want to leave a green light around these parts first.
No, hell
You
no.
always need to
Wait a beat. Let somebody else go first.
You need to be okay,
Yeah.
and then go. It's like a stop
Let
sign.
someone honk at you. Let him say, "Go, asshole."
Yeah.
All right, great.
But you're missing the deeper philosophical point that if we rely on rules, that's more dangerous. If we rely
Right, because
on
the yellow blinking lights means there's using yellows all directions. You
It's
have to
still
be polite.
rules.
But you have to be polite. You come up to the light. You want to look around.
It's a suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Don't
not
tell
a
me-
suggestion.
With the yellow
What
lights?
does it mean?
You're supposed to slow down.
Supposed
No,
to.
but the blinking yellow lights at night is what he's saying. When they stop, when all rules are kind of suspended. For
What
a
about
few
blinking
hours.
reds though?
Those aren't real.
Those are about as effective as a blinking yellow.
Well,
I would
we're
say
missing
they're
the
more
philosophical point here. We'll try this again because you're focusing on the colors and not the idea that without rules we're better. Bold statement. Consider that. Think about it.
Right.
Yeah.
With the green light, you're not my real dad.
This is now the Mama Tried Flat Out Friday podcast, number 36. I ran out of shirts. 37.
I ran out. You're wearing a Friday shirt on
because I only have 36 shirts. So
that one was at the bottom of the pile.
Yeah.
All right.
At the bottom of the pile.
Is your closet like a CD changer where you only get 36 spots?
Dude, you should see his suitcase when we go on international trips. It's just like it's just packed to the gills with party shirts.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And as soon as we get into a nice pristine hotel room, that zipper just like pops itself like a zit. They just come out. And they're covering the lampshades.
They can't be wrinkled.
Bathroom door.
Can't be wrinkled.
When you pack them like a ball, it's hard to stay away from non-wrinkled.
I roll them nice.
To roll them. That's the key.
The point is, though,
the humidity of Bali is not good to the rolling effect of his.
You're killing my street cred of how I rode on the most dangerous road, unlike Danger Dan, discrediting my wardrobe of party shirts. We have Brian here from Geared Science. That's what's important.
All
here.
right,
That's what's
all right. Thanks, Brian.
Welcome, Brian.
Happy to be here.
Brian, what is Geared Science? What does that mean?
Well, it was this idea we were passing back and forth with friends of like we should make video. I professionally am a video maker, videographer, video creator, video producer. So then we were building all these bikes. All my friends are building cool bikes, and we should make videos about that. So basically now what it's come down to is where I'm making this kind of a library of interviews of my friends' bikes. So if someone, either has built a bunch of bikes or has never done it before, can just go through here and be like, oh, I like JJ's panhead. What did he do? And they can go to the video and they can watch and find out, like, how did he do that? So that's kind of where it lives now. It's a little, like, deep level. It's
a little nerdy.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. Like, that's the thing is, like, there's some stuff where I'm trying to, like, go a little more high level where it's a little more fun and easygoing, but it's, like, it's definitely for, like, the chopper nerd.
It's the Library of Congress of Midwest Chopper Land.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, a bold statement. I'm trying to like get in there and like find as many people as I can and like get in there with different people's bikes and like really get into the nitty gritty of like why'd you do this, why'd you do that kind of thing. And I did an episode with JJ's Born Free People's Champ bike, and he did. You can look at a bike 1,000 times, and then when you ask someone about it to really get into it, it's crazy. He built his forks and like the way he has his like, if you've ever seen his bike, it like the way that his like axle even goes in.
That's cool. It's a cool angle to sort of like be the document of record for the stuff, because these bikes never stay the same, right? Like
right. Well, they never stay the same, and it's always people that are like, I don't know, JJ's of note, but people know who he is. But like, there's a lot of guys building cool stuff in their garages that like that are doing really crazy weird shit that you wouldn't have ever seen. So that's a big thing too. Like I did one with Chris Graves and like really getting into his shovel head, the dual front cylinder shovel head. You can see that bike and know that it's a cool bike, but when you get into like how he made that weird tiny suspension in the rear section, like it looks like a hardtail, but he's got this tiny little suspension thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it's all air ride and all this other stuff. But and just the fact that it's dual front head is insane. So just little stuff like that. Stuff the guys are doing is kind of fun to document it.
You build choppers yourself?
I do. Yeah, I built a few. Most recently was the one that was in the show, my 55 panhead that I actually got a good jump start on. I bought it from my friend Ben, who had done a lot to it. He had done like the molded, the triangles in the front two straight legs. And then I was going to cut them off because I didn't like them. And then eventually I was like, oh, they just need more love. So I molded them in more. Rebuilt the motor, rebuilt the transmission, rebuilt the whole bike, and that was fun. So I like taking new stuff. And
who taught you how to build a chopper?
The internet.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
your pops, your family wasn't into it.
So no, my dad. I grew up around motorcycles. Like my dad was like a Honda guy though, because like he was born in '60. So like most of his youth was AMF and Boo Harley kind of thing for a lot of those guys. So he was a big Honda guy.
What was he riding?
He had a 1982 CB 900 Custom. So that was like his big thing. And he had that. But we had all types of like CBs around my whole youth. And then when he got us dirt bikes and stuff too. Like he brought home like a 1980 KZ80 Kawasaki 2-stroke, and then like that was one of those things where he's trying to teach me how to ride the clutch, and I'm like 8, and I'm just like, he had like, I had CBs, and then when I got to be like early 20s, late teens, I had, you know, CBs, but then I got my first Sportster, and I was like, oh, this is way easier to deal with. Single carburetor, it's all right there. You don't have to take the whole fucking bike apart.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that is true about them Sportsters. Plus they're bulletproof. They run forever.
And they're cheap as fuck.
Yeah.
Like I got into Ironheads, and like I think I paid like $700 for my first like complete Ironhead.
Yeah.
And it's like you can get them to run on a hope and a prayer, basically. You know.
How old were you when you got that Sportster?
My first Sportster, I was 21.
Okay.
So I switched from like, I had CB 200s, 450s, 650s. I was like flipping them. So I buy one, have it for a while. I got it for a few $100. Clean it up, sell it so I can get something a little better.
Yeah.
Sell that one, get something a little better. Buy 2 from this other guy. Sell both of them, get something a little better. You know what I mean? That's kind of how it went. My dad was always like a big hustler when I was a kid too. We go to like, you know, look through the paper.
Yeah, I started with
cool.
like a KZ, is it 1000s?
Mm-hmm.
I was doing like little bobber things out of them.
Oh, yeah.
They're cheap as hell.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. CBs and KZs and like all the Japanese bikes are great because like they're super powerful. They're cheap as fuck. And you can do whatever you want to them and not feel too bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know?
Because they're dime a dozen.
Yeah, if you cut something up like that, you'd feel kind of like a dickhead, you know, or you'd do it and be like, "This is cool." Then someone would make you feel like you fucking fucked. And then 2 years later, you're like, "I shouldn't have did that."
I'm pausing with my questions here, and I'm hiding them from you. You've seen this podcast 36 times.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know the bit.
you know the bit. What's next then? What's my next
I
question?
want to pretend like I'm being. Is it dirty fingernails?
It's funny that I don't only I know what you're talking about. Who taught you how to build a Sportster? How'd you get your fingernails dirty?
Oh well, so my dad got me into like doing bike stuff.
See what happens when you put the put the editor in front
Right.
of the camera. Yeah, he knows the whole bit.
My dad got me into like doing bike stuff, Hondas and what have yous, and like dirt bikes and things and mini bikes and what have yous. But this one, he bought like this. We went to this guy's like storage unit, and I'm like not old enough to really know where we going. He's like, and my favorite thing he would do, I was like, when you're a kid, you kind of go where your parents are going, and they just. But when you're a kid, you're asked where you're going. Where are we going? He always say, "We're going crazy." I'm just like, I don't know what that means. Can you just tell me we're
let
going
me
to
know,
the,
yeah.
Can you just
like-
tell me we're going to the
bringing that
Janesville
back.
Mall or something?
Yeah,
I don't know.
that
getting
back.
ice
Yeah.
cream, groceries.
Yeah. So where we going? We're going crazy.
Yeah.
So that was happening. Anyway, we're going crazy. So we went to this guy's like storage unit, and he had like, you know, a bunch of old bikes in there, Hondas and shit. And he needed parts bikes for his CB900 to keep it going or whatever the fuck. So we go to this guy's unit, and this guy had 3 bikes. He bought all 3 of them. They're all junk, but good parts here and there. But there's this one bike that I'll never forget. He had a gas tank, and the guy's like, it's all rusty. And my dad's like, oh, I think it's all way rustier than it looked in the picture in the ad. And he's like, that'll buff out. And I, being like 8 years old, poked it. And I poked my finger into the tank.
No way.
He's like, that'll buff out. So,
As you were like,
yeah.
Well, so your dad just had you
That's
around, and he must have started the wrench with you. He showed you around the garage.
Yeah, I mean, he like was doing his thing, and I was kind of like, you know, hold the flashlight kind of thing. And then like him and my brother actually got into it more than me, because I was more into like, you know, music and like hanging out with my friends, that sort of thing. Like as I got older too, so I didn't really get too deep into it. I would have to break I had to fix what I break. But we were building like sketchy plywood 2x4 jumps with these dirt bikes. My parents would come home, and we'd be like jumping these dirt bikes on the sketchiest ramps you've ever seen.
You live in the city or sticks or?
No, we lived in like middle of between Jefferson and Fort Atkinson.
Good
And
people.
Whitewater.
Salt of the earth.
But yeah, so we were right between
Elkhorn?
Jefferson, yeah, right by Elkhorn. So Jefferson, Fort Atkinson, Whitewater. We were like kind of in the middle of that, and it was fun. Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah. So when you go out there, you have to create your own fun.
Yeah, lots of cornfields.
Oh yeah.
What did your dad do?
He did and still does sells like heavy duty truck parts. So he did like
For a company?
yeah. So when I was a kid, he worked for a place over on 124th and Capitol, And he would, he was like a on the road salesman guy. So he'd go to different truck shops, find out what you need, sort of thing, like mostly semi trailers and stuff like that. And then had to have been like 99, 2000 ish. He bought into a shop in Madison. He's been doing that ever since.
Okay.
So he runs their part department.
Cool.
How about your mom? Do you have a mom?
I do. They're still together.
Oh.
They hang out. They do stuff. My mom's
That's cool.
a saint. She deals with all of us. Is always, she's always the one when you're 14, you're like, Mom, I can't find my shoes, and she'd be like, where'd you leave them? And if I knew that, I wouldn't be asking you. And then then she'll calmly help you through it until she lost her top. And then when Mom got mad, it was game
Everybody's
over.
like,
Then everyone chilled the fuck out.
Yeah.
It sounds
Take a lot.
I've been chasing this theme. You know this from seeing these from 36 of these prior, chasing these themes that bad or juvenile delinquent youth go towards choppers. It doesn't sound like that's your path.
No, I feel like kind of whose episode was that? But when they give you a rope long enough to hang yourself from it, you can kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
JJ, I think maybe it was, but they kind of gave us enough freedom to do whatever we wanted, kind of thing. I had a friend, early teens or so, that he also moved into our same little weird circle. So we were jumping dirt bikes. We go to parties and different towns. And
what was the name of the town again?
I went to Jefferson High School, Jefferson.
Oh.
So but Jefferson, Fort Atkinson, Whitewater, that was the center.
All right. I know the area. That Jefferson Speedway.
Jefferson Speedway.
Jefferson movie theater, the outdoor movie theater.
The Highway 18 outdoor movie theater was a staple growing up. They closed it for many years, and now it's back open, so it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
My parents would make us hide under blankets to pull it.
No way, really?
Yeah, so
They're really strict there. They'll search your car for food.
I mean, now
Really?
they will. Now they
No
will.
way.
But when I was a kid, it was pretty just like a teenager was working at the front door,
Yeah.
so they'd be like, my parents would be like, "Nah, just hide." And then,
Shut
and
boy.
8 kids would roll out.
Under a blanket. Yeah.
Just 2, please. What's that? Just a pile of blankets. Don't mind us.
What's the Sunset Taverns is out there? Fort Atkinson or
Lake there,
Elkhorn?
they do the racing.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, that's a
for
good
the
one,
ice
too.
racing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
They have a lot of cool stuff. They have a Chopper Fest that happens in Fort Atkinson now.
Really?
Yeah, I've only heard of it. I've never been.
Chopper Fest.
It's a Chopper Festival. I don't know.
You know Justin and Jody at the Elkhorn Saloon?
I do not.
No.
I don't get out that far too
Yeah.
often.
Downtown Elkhorn.
I go to Eagle
Yeah.
a lot.
That place is great.
I gotta go to Eagle to go visit Pal Steele.
Yeah.
I gotta go do a tour over there and figure out exactly what they have going on because it's like an onion.
It's like a new building there, isn't it?
Is it?
I don't know.
I don't think so. I mean, the last time I was in there, it looked like a general store from the 20s.
Okay. Because I've been to Knuckleheads a bunch of times. My buddy Ian was from out there, and we'd always go out there, but it's fun to ride through. And
It's beautiful.
It's a good spot.
Yeah.
But it's just all the roads out there that, like we did with Chuck's ride. Just going out that way, I don't know, being under, for some reason, being under this tunnel of trees, and you're riding.
It's magical.
Oh,
Yeah,
magical,
it's really.
truly.
It is.
And being on a bike that you're not sure is going to make it. It's always fun for me.
Wait, you have a brother?
I do, yeah.
Or is it your only sibling?
No, I have an older brother and a younger sister.
Okay.
Yeah, my younger sister was she did all the things that you're supposed to do. She did college, and she's doing very well. And my brother, was my brother. He did older brother stuff. But I tried college for a while, and then I went and toured for a long time. I did music and.
Wait, talk about what about tour band?
Yeah,
band
what's with this
stuff?
music?
So I was in a band in high school. I took every music class available in high school, and then
You played instruments?
I played trumpet and I played percussion, and then I was in jazz band. I played bass in jazz band. I was in show choir, but I played bass in show choir.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it was great.
There's room for everybody.
Can you use your hands when you're playing bass and show choir?
No, you just got that. Boom. You gotta play "Accidentally in Love." What else? But yeah, I figured out the scam for our high school was they built it in a way where every student was supposed to have a study hall every year. Well, I skipped the study hall every year and loaded my schedule my first 3 years. So my senior year consisted of 4 study halls.
Nice.
So I showed up at about a cool 12:30.
No
And I
way.
started with lunch. followed by Spanish, followed by band, then jazz band, then show choir.
No way.
Yeah, so
smart guy in high school.
I had a thing, but I just figured out the system. But they paid for me to get a couple credits at MATC to do an English class there. But like a college course only meets like a couple times a week, so I did that. But I was mostly hanging out in Whitewater with my older friends, doing that, and then I was able to play music with older friends, and
that's great.
We did a couple tours when I was too young to be doing that. That was
cool.
Well, tell me more about these bands. Maybe would I know them? What kind of music?
I was in like a noise band when I was in high school.
A noise band. Like you played a grinder and someone was plugging in wires.
Yeah, not that bad. But it was just like a chaotic, weird metal, and then like.
Well, but it wasn't just noise. You guys had songs.
Yeah, it was. But it was like, familiar with a band like Norma Jean, like early Norma Jean, or like the Locust, perhaps.
Wouldn't that kind of be like hyper? It's not noise, although it sounds like noise, but it's hyper manipulated.
Yeah. So
it's actually very tight.
Yeah. So you get it.
Yeah.
But like
your mom didn't get it.
Yeah, right. I like the music, but what's with all the yelling?
Yeah.
But
steel pole bathtub.
Yeah. So we did that. I bought this trailer. I bought a van and a trailer. I bought a van in 2008 when gas was over $4 something a gallon. Like, we think about that now and like, oh, no big deal. But back then it was like when gas first hit $4, everyone was selling their expensive like gas guzzling vehicles for mad cheap. So I got this van for $800. Good van. But I blew the transmission up, but like the reverse didn't work. Like,
not so good van.
It was great at first, and then I fucked it up. And then we went on this full U.S. tour with this van that didn't have reverse. So we got into one pickle where I had 6 dudes like pushing the fucking thing with a trailer on it. So
what was the band name?
This band was called Mouthful of Birds.
Mouthful of Birds.
Yeah. We just like fucking really leaned into it.
All right.
You played basements, clubs.
Yeah, we played all over. So our first tour, we like booked half of the tour, like pretty much every other day. We like, let's just book a show out to the East Coast, go do this stuff and get weird, and we'll do that. And then we'll just kind of figure it out as we go. And then we met up with this band called Close Your Eyes, and we're like, hey, can we just like ditch the rest of our shows? We like follow you guys, and they were like, sure. So we just like, they called, and they were so cool about it. They actually did pretty well, but they were from Texas. We met them in some random show we played in Virginia, and they like called the promoters from all their shows, and they're just like, hey, this other band's gonna play 30 minutes before us, and like local like VFW hall shows, who gives a fuck? Like if another band shows up and plays, who cares? And that's what we did.
So would you take a percentage? Did you guys work out a deal to take percentage of the door, or like?
We just like sold merch and like, I'd do anything for gas money.
Yeah.
We just fucking like did $100.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Come on, Jeremy, for gas money.
$20 is $20. But we did like we just did it for gas money. So like that was the thing.
That's
like
cool.
what our parents didn't get when we left for that tour was like, how much you guys making? Like, what do you mean?
I'm gonna take money with me and have
hope,
none when I get back.
Prayer.
Yeah.
So
I did that in '91 through maybe 2001.
Yeah.
And I'm not. This isn't about me, but talking about how we book tours. But were you using the internet back then to book tours?
MySpace was an absolute essential tool to that.
Yeah.
MySpace was incredible because like you could just like find a guy like, hey, I want to play a show in St. Louis. You go to find the guy in St. Louis, and someone would be like, hey, who's the guy? And they're like, yo, it's Jim. You fucking go message Jimmy, and Jimmy will set up your show.
Yeah.
And it was perfect. And it's trying to describe that to bands now. They have no idea. Like booking shows, I feel like MySpace is dead and whatever else, but like it was so easy back then to just do that. And
Wait, how would it be harder now though? I don't understand.
It's weird because like MySpace just was this perfect conglomerate of weird shit.
hyper.
I guess it was really based on music when it started, right?
Yeah,
like, so
because Facebook now, and especially like because the world I think is so much bigger because of the internet, trying to find that guy.
Yeah, needle in the haystack.
Because it used to be what you do is you go on MySpace, you find the scene girl from fucking,
St.
Florida,
Louis, yeah.
And then you'd like say, hey, who's the guy that set up shows? Oh, Steve Roche. Did you fucking find Steve Roche? And then that sort of thing. So now I just feel like it's so much harder to do that. And I did that for 3 years with different bands. I joined different bands and I played in a bunch of bands. And then I eventually did tour managing and I did a few Warped Tours, and that was like the height of my career.
Who did you manage?
I managed a band called Cute Is What We Aim For. They're a big emo band.
There's a lot of words in your names. A lot of names.
I was
a lot of words.
Wait, say that band name again.
Cute Is What We Aim For. They were a very marginally successful band on Fueled by Ron.
Very marginally successful.
Yeah, they did very well. They actually did very well. They had music videos, the VMAs. They were doing a lot of stuff.
Jeremy, what was the name of your band?
I was in many bands.
The 1991 to 2001.
1991, I was in LSD, Lack of Social Decency.
Oh, nice. That's a good one.
You can look up my stuff on MKE Punk.
Oh, really?
If you're interested, yeah. The MKE Punk has a really great site of documenting bands. You can put my name in there, and every band I've been in is on there.
They were really good about that. I remember when I was like first coming to Milwaukee shows, like, you know Steve Roche, right?
Yeah.
So he was from Madison area. I was from Madison area. He booked a lot of shows there. Then when he came out here, I kind of like was like, okay, cool. Steve's doing all this Milwaukee stuff. And then I got to be familiar with all that stuff too.
If I were to book bands, by the way, and I still do this, it's still my secret thing I enjoy, my little hobby. Finding a band that I like and then looking at their tour. This is what I would do.
Yeah.
Look at their tour, a band that would be about my level, and I would just copy I'd go to all those places. I think it's easier now than ever to book a show. I'm disagreeing with you about MySpace being dead, but
I think finding that guy though is harder, at least for me. I guess I'm not in a band anymore, but like when I was doing it, like I was in one band that did fairly well. It was a stoner band called Maidens, and we just like latched onto a bigger band, and that was kind of our shtick.
And they pulled you around the country.
Yeah, that was like my whole tactic for my whole music career was to do that. But then when I started managing, then it's like you babysit these dudes and get them places, and the Warped Tour makes it very easy for like tour managers, but it's a little different.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing that little aspect of your life. But when we've talked about this many times, as you know, in the 36 episodes before, the relation of music and what's happening with the art of choppering.
Yeah.
Choppering?
You should have your glasses on.
The art of choppering?
I think it's funny. That's a good look.
Elvis is back in the building.
I think the big thing between music and like even when Bobby was on here too, Bobby G, Good Times, he was talking about it a little bit too. The same thing was like, I think when you're it's kind of a similar ritual, I think, for me, is because when you go to band practice, you got these things you do. But when you're building a bike, it's like a lot easier to like, I don't have 4 other guys that I need to like coordinate with.
Things by.
I can go do it right now. And then, to run things by, like, what do you think I should do? Yeah. But it's even just the coordination of like, I'm going to go show up and like work on this for a couple hours or whatever. So there's that.
Yeah. But I think also it's a good, I don't know, like a building, like a good personality
networking.
Building exercise when you're younger, because you have to learn how to work with like lots of different people and kind of integrate everybody's schedules and ideas, and so it's not just you like facing the world. It's like, And
I think that's a big thing too, where it's like doing sports for a lot of kids, like in their teens, is really good because it shows you structure. You have to be at a place at a certain time. You have to work with other people, and that's great. But being in a band too is also kind of that, where you have to like kind of manage your group of people, and like there's always like someone that's kind of in charge, and like the guy that just shows up and the guy that's too old to be there, or that kind of thing.
The guy that buys beer.
Yeah, the guy that buys beer, right. So you need to manage him as well. But that's a good thing to have. My friend Andy Parman, I think, did a whole like article about how being in a band makes you a good marketer. Like that's why a lot of people in bands that I've been either in or around have gone into marketing, because you have to promote your band.
Yeah.
Like if people don't show up to your shows, like what are you doing? So it kind of teaches you a lot of life skills, I think, too, despite being like a bunch of goofy looking guys with silly tattoos.
Well, you're trying to keep a vehicle running, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're trying to keep gas in the tank, keep everybody fed, find a place to sleep every night, and just all those like problem solving.
All the things I know about shitty old vans comes from being in a van that should not have gone to Texas and back.
Jeremy still has one of those.
Yes. You described yourself as a professional videographer.
Yeah.
What does that mean? How those are bold words. Professional.
Yeah, I get paid to do it. People pay me to do stuff.
Wait, was the band thing? Did that morph into like sort of the AV thing?
Yeah. So it's kind of like it's all kind of been this like perfect set of ingredients that led me to where I am. But like being in a band led me to doing like
sound
and learning how to record your band's demos, and then like, we'll record this ourselves kind of thing, and then we'll just pay a guy who's really good at it. So you make good decisions that way. You go to Shane at Hall Street if you want something good. But I started doing photos and videos at shows, and that's kind of what got me into video. Was because like all my friends' bands had good photos. No one had had a guy with their mom's camcorder making videos. So I stole my mom's camcorder. And I started posting videos.
Which one was it? Was it this one or was it this one?
I had both. I had one that took a full-size VHS tape, and then
Is that like with the camera and the player
it was
like separate?
Easy.
It was all one thing, but it took a full-size VHS tape at first. But I had a friend his name is Adam Elmakias. He like blew up he's a really successful photographer, and he got me into doing like music photography, and then I started doing video stuff, and then started making music videos, and then I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. I just want to do camera related stuff. And then I worked at a bank in 2012, and then when I quit that, I've never had a 2011. I never had a non-camera related job since then.
Okay. Well, what are you doing right now? What's paying the bills?
All types of stuff. So I do like a lot of freelance. My wife does. She's an incredibly talented photographer. She does weddings, headshots, kids, real estate's her main bag right now, or she has a real estate company doing photography for real estate. So she'll do cinematic walkthrough videos of houses. She'll do like the photos, all this crazy stuff too.
Wait a minute. Your wife's not on this podcast. What do you do?
I'm plugging her. But,
okay.
But anyway.
But you guys are kind of a team. You and Leah.
That's
You
what
and
I
Leah
didn't
are
understand.
like
Yeah,
a team.
So what I do, I help her out. I do some of the videos.
Got it.
I do. I'm the director of photography at the Wisconsin Historical Society.
Here in Milwaukee?
They're in Madison, but it's full state. They're based in Madison, but it's statewide. So I work from home most of the time, and they'll send me off to do like weird things, but I mostly just direct the things that come in, and kind of like I do a lot of editing for them, and working for nonprofits is like a different change of pace.
What's that show on Channel 36 that we grew up with? Outdoor Wisconsin.
Oh yeah, it's not the same, but it's right.
I love that show. Yeah,
but
there's some quality video editing in that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I bet. But I worked for Milwaukee Tool for a few years. I was their like main video editor, and I was a shooter there. And then I worked for the Brewers. I've had like a million jobs. I basically get a new job like every other year.
Well, you're living your best life.
Fuck yeah.
I appreciate that.
Hell yeah.
And you're building a chopper with your kid.
Yeah, I'm building the chopper with myself.
That was my question. You got kids?
Yes, I have 2 kids. I have a 6-year-old and I have a 2-year-old.
Oh.
What kind of stuff is what kind of choppers is the 2-year-old into?
Dude, she's got a little like scooter rocker. And she like rocks on it, and she stands on it now and like does she surfs on it. She's a fucking animal.
Is she gonna be like a?
I think she's gonna be the problem. My son's like pretty well behaved and does like stuff, but he like just wants to play like normal like 6-year-old boy stuff. He'll come out in the garage. He'll ride his Stasic around. He'll do that. But my daughter is like a fucking animal. She's like an actual feral child. Yeah.
She's gonna like arm wrestle away the chopper from your older.
Dude, straight up. Yeah. She does this thing now where she'll make faces and she'll go like. And I'm just like, what's happening? And then she'll like laugh and then run away.
Okay,
she's an animal.
Keep us updated.
Yeah. What's weird because like when you have like, and I'm sure maybe you remember, but having small children is weird because you can't control them when they're that age. Like my son, if I tell him to do something, he'll do it. But a 2-year-old's like a glorified pet.
Yeah, you're at the mercy of
whatever they do,
demeanor that child has.
You just have to kind of
roll with it.
Hope for the best.
Grin and bear it.
That's right. You're one of those ones, an animal.
We're going into some uncharted territory here with my next question. We're getting a little meta. What is it? Metaphysical. Meta. Tell me. You're the word
just
guy.
meta.
That
meta.
Sounds like a word.
We're getting a little meta here.
Yeah.
Because you're on the other side of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you see over there?
Logan's over there now.
I know, but what do you see when you're over there? What's going on here with this podcast? What do you see?
When you're back there,
when I'm watching, it's so much like he is right now. It's like when you sit there and you listen, you gotta soak it all in. And you're trying to take notes on like, oh, this will be a good short.
Logan, you taking notes?
Mentally, that's what I'm saying. They all come right here. But
do we need like a digital screen like on our laps so you could be like, ask them about this?
No, I should. Honestly, I've thought about that.
Yeah.
Where I've tried the whiteboard thing one time. And no one looked at it, but
no. But I think we could be trained.
We need to get TVs. Is what we should do. We'll figure it out later. But being on this side of it's weird because I'm gonna have to listen to all this later, and that's like my biggest concern.
But if you look at the birth of everything that we put in the can,
Yeah.
you just look at the big catalog. What do you see about the Mama Tried? Let's just break it down a little more. So what do you see about Mama Tried when you look at the can of interviews and the personality of Scott and Warren?
Well, my favorite part about doing these is, I think, like, whenever I bring things up to, like, other entities, like when I have to do things for Harley or whatever about with the show, they're like, oh, it'd be funny if we had Warren do this. Like, well, no one knows who Warren is. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, no one knows who Jeremy is. No one knows who Scott is. I'm like, they just know the show is the show. So, like, my favorite part about this is, like, you know, this kind of much like the mentality of motorcycles are cool, but motorcycle people are more cooler. I think...
I love that song, by the way.
Great song.
It's a great song.
It's a #1 hit, chart topper.
I know. I think he's been working on that 3-chord.
Yeah. But I think, like, that's the big thing is, like, having this and, like, you know, we're messing around with some more YouTube stuff of getting it, you know, more out there. And we hit our 1,000th subscriber today.
Oh,
which,
sweet.
Really?
Is there a bell?
There's a bell. We ring it.
Are we looking for an email?
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get an email. But yeah, we get that, and then we'll be able to monetize. But to answer your question though, is like looking at this has always been. I've been coming. I think since the second one, I've been coming to them. So like being a part of it now is kind of cool. Being able to see like people involved and all the moving parts.
There's literally probably 10 million podcasts one can choose from.
Right.
I'm listening to the 300th day by day of the Civil War.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Really?
There you go.
I'm on day 350. It's a long war. Anyway, my point is, every podcast has a brand.
Friday.
As a brand of some kind. Despite about what is being talked about, forget that I talk about the Civil War, which is the subject matter. Taking out the subject matter, what do you think about what's the brand of this podcast?
I like that.
Wait, also, I think I need to just say that we're not fishing for compliments.
No,
this is where
yes,
this is a safe space.
This is like
this is a safe space. You're among friends because you're kind of you know
you've listened to 100 of
you're
Warren's
the fourth
burps.
Beatle. Yeah,
at least. And then when he whispers,
I stopped. I like.
You got it this time. But I think like it's kind of fun because it's almost like it's not quite like a morning zoo, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's a fun. I like when you break people down because it's cool. Like I learned a lot about different people I wouldn't have known about. I loved Micah's episode, learning all his fun stuff, and then he always posts his old videos and stuff like that. But
That railing he was trying to slide down is pretty fucking epic.
the cut of him where like I just play football like other fat people. It's funny. But I saw him the other day. It was great. But what I like about it is you unpack people, find out where they've come from, what they're doing now, what they're hoping to do later. I think it's great. And like I edit other podcasts now. I've accidentally become a podcast producer.
Oh,
just because of this.
nice.
So I do another one for some of Logan's friends, and then I do a third one, which I'll tell you about later, which I'm not sure it's not out yet, so I don't know if I can talk about it yet. But yeah, but it's cool. This one guy from the other podcast though, I was like, you should break people down more, because I'm like, be the Jeremy.
Well,
figure out where they come from, because like he wasn't saying enough on the show, and I'm like, you need to talk more. Ask what's his childhood.
well, again, I'm not fishing for compliments.
What are we doing that we should?
I know. I feel like
That's another
Is
angle.
there
too.
anything that we've?
Yeah, that's another angle. Where are we exposed? Right.
No,
I mean,
what can we do better? Is
Yeah.
that-
Yeah, I think that's good. But you're good at digging into some deep, like, whoa, hey,
Yeah.
it's a little deep. It's a little bit deep cut question, but I'm gonna dive in here. So, but I'm saying you're good at asking those questions.
we're meta and non-meta.
Yeah.
The same thing.
I like
my
the
brain was spinning on your question.
Yeah, I like the philosophicalness. I like breaking people down. I like the whole thing
Again,
is like
I get that you like it. I'm not fishing for compliments. But and why I'm asking you this is not only did you watch all 36 episodes, you've become, bold statement, intimately involved with the editing and editing out sound and changing them. So you more than anybody know the brand of what we're doing in this podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you saying the compliments. What could we do better? Let me say it this way. What's in our future? What's the future
I think what
of
we
this
keep
podcast?
doing. What I like to say is like about how we're doing this. It's like it's been to get through the noise that is on YouTube and things like this, we're doing a pretty good job of like being consistent. That's great. We're getting past like the ad barrier now. We can actually monetize, and like YouTube helps you out once you do that. Doing more things, and like I think it's on the backside now. Logan's helping me doing these social cuts, which is great. I think the thing is just what we need to keep doing is keep on keeping on.
How do we get to like, do we need to be doing like outlandish bullshit on our thing, or
that's the thing is like, all right, so there's for every like Led Zeppelin, there's like 1,000 bands that had a shtick. Led Zeppelin, everyone wants to be Led Zeppelin because they didn't have a shtick. They were just Led Zeppelin, right?
Yeah.
So like there's always like the Kiss. If you like Kiss.
Sure.
Kiss
Your theory is Kiss wanted to be Led Zeppelin, but they
needed a shtick to get that big.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin just got to show up and just be who they were. You know what I'm saying? So everyone
wants,
don't
fake it.
Just eventually you'll get there. But like again, bands like Mudhoney or whatever, like they never got huge, but they were like who they were.
But
like,
they were awesome.
But then like there's for every Nirvana there was 1,000 bands that sounded like Nirvana that didn't get there. But what I'm getting at is that like just keep on keeping on, and if we get it, we'll get it.
Well, it's like I think we all know that it's not like we're ever going to be like the top podcast, but we enjoy hanging out together, and like we enjoy the guests that we have on. One of my favorite parts is what we do in the 10 minutes before we walk in this room,
right?
Which I wish that we could there'd be someone as soon as we walk in the door just put a mic on us, because we're just like the bullshit that we talk before we get in here.
We'll build it in.
I know.
Well, the big thing is
there's
like,
a way to do it.
I appreciate the dedication to like just coming to do this, like because every person that talks to me about the podcast that actually watches them, really is like happy about them, loves them, is really into them, and it's like whether you have like if you're again I bring it back to music where it's like whether you're selling out stadiums or you're playing a Cactus Club size venue to like 175 like really diehard people. I mean, whatever you want to be.
Yeah,
exactly.
I talked to a Dump Truck in length about it at the show, and he was saying his thing was the same thing too, where it's like, well, you could either you can be watched or listened by 1 million people. That's great, but it's like what's the quality of the people?
Sure.
Right. Well, and when you say monetize, that means that $5 check that comes once a month.
Dude,
we can buy more Natter Days.
I just got my first $100 check from YouTube.
Really?
For my Geared Science channel.
Professional podcaster.
Professional podcast.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Well, I've been doing Geared Science since 2019, and I was able to monetize however long later, but I finally got paid $100. They pay you in $100 increments.
All right.
So like after however many years that is, 4 years now, I made $100.
That's great.
Things are coming up, Millhouse.
Well, the thing that I love about your participation is like, the 100 emails and text messages that we trade around during the week when you're just like, I think we should do this, and like, what do you guys think about this? Or like, I was thinking there's a this technical problem or this social media, like, oh, we need to. What was the thing about like the episode count? It's like we're off, but we can't do we did this one, but actually this one comes before it. So how do we?
Well, that's
and because we're not good at that.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too is like figuring out like the back end. I was just listening to a different podcast with like a documentary guy talking about how he offloads his footage, and it was like some super nerd shit, and I was like, oh, I have that same problem. Like, what do you do? Because like with this, Joey Turbo's episode's going to come out, but it was recorded a while ago, so I have to kind of figure out like how it relates to time. We put Jade's episode out first, which is out now.
Because Biker Fest is coming up, right?
Yeah, Biker Fest is coming up now. We only had a
week
week between her episode and Biker Fest, so we want to get some stuff out for that. So figuring that out is a whole challenge. But I like to like kind of kick out ideas, and it's kind of fun to show stuff back and forth, and like the willingness of you guys to like do stuff too is very fun.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I think we're really good at the studio stuff, and I appreciate how we've all been very like good about like, being here once a week and to get it done and I enjoy the time hanging out actually because when the show's not happening, like the Mama Tried and Flat Out Friday, when that stuff's not happening, of course we all go back to our own regular lives because that shit's important, and so we kind of lose the vibe a little bit, and so this is like a way to keep us just constantly, just hanging out a little bit. At least we're touching base once a week.
Well, and that's one of my big things too, where it's like before I really got involved, I love the show. I always kind of have a lot of footage from it all the time. So I go back to it every so often, all year, because I shoot so much of it between Flat Out Friday and Mama Tried Too. It's like, but my first involvement was like when I went to the interview with you two talking about in here, talking about the show that longer, like one of my longest, I think it's my longest episode.
The one where Scott asked everyone to bring a jacket.
Yeah, exactly. And we did that promo.
That was a good time.
Yeah. That was my first foray into like actually, almost pseudo podcast type stuff. But I was like, I know you guys did one before, but I was like, let's just do it. And that's been kind of my whole like punk rock mentality of like, you have an idea, do it.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Like, it's funny because like the earlier episodes, I go back and watch them. I was with Logan on last Friday, and we were watching some of the older ones, and I'm like, fuck, we didn't have the lights, we didn't have this, but I was figuring out, and it's like that's how you do it, though.
Yeah, you don't want to get into decision paralysis where you think about it too much and you never get to it, and then you're a what if.
Well, and that's the thing. I've had so many friends who are like, I want to do this. I've always wanted to do this, but it's like X, Y, and Z is in the way. I just fucking do it. Figure it out. One of my favorite things that one of my friends was telling me, like when I was in a band, was like, I don't know if I should spend the money on an expensive van or like, I don't know what to do. We can't tour because we don't have a good van. And this guy was like, well, buy a shitty van and make memories on the side of the road.
It's true. Like, I've had some of the best times on the side of the road.
Fuck yeah.
That's where the stories start.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The trips that go off without a hitch, you never remember.
Yeah, you don't remember them.
Like, that was great. I went to the restaurant.
And you can keep that, by the way. You can keep what Warren said. You can take that home with you. Decision paralysis. Yeah. You can have that as a band name.
DP could also mean a lot of other shit.
You can have that. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I've seen decision paralysis before.
How about this? You mentioned Micah. It was a highlight. Is that the best? Is that the best we've done? Is that the high water
mark?
One
of my favorite ones. I mean,
what's another podcast that we've done or a guest that we've had?
I go back to Mike Lang's now and then.
Mike Lang's is good.
Mike Lang's is fun, and it's funny.
Bobby Good Times was really fun too.
That's one of my favorite episodes.
That's great.
But just getting the access to like different people, you guys bring on people that I wouldn't have.
Before we conclude that part of of this interview, because by the way, before I forget, we're thanking you. Thanks for running this podcast for us. You can't clap. Yeah. You can't clap for clapping for you. There you go.
Yeah.
Before we conclude this part, what are some future guests? Who would you like to see on this podcast?
All right. So here's the big thing. I always thought, and this is another sidebar again. I'm going to go on your journey, and then I'm going to answer your question.
Okay.
One big thing was back to the early question was like, what should we do? I always thought you need to have like a famous person on do something, and like that's how you're going to get through, and that's how you keep going. Maybe it'll help. But I did like some random walk around video of some guy. I bought these motors off some guy and I did a walk around on his bike, and it's like my most successful video that I've done. It's like 250,000 views, not a huge deal for most people, but for me it's a big deal.
It's a lot.
It blew up. I get like a steady few. I got like 1,500 followers on Instagram from it. Like no big. Like again, to me that's a big deal.
What was the video?
It was I just did a walk around. This guy's like goofy ass panhead.
Yeah, it's a cool panhead.
Yeah, it was wild. Things fucking crazy, and just some goofy ass. He did the pipes all crazy. It's like a cartoon chopper. You know what I mean? So I did that. I just did it on my phone, walked around it. Whatever.
You were narrating while you were walking.
Yeah, I was just walking around like this is cool, and he's in the background saying like, we rode this thing in the snow uphill both ways, that kind of stuff, and 250,000 views. Super stoked about it. So. I don't know that we need to have anyone like super famous to just maybe you never know when you're going to hit the algorithm.
We had Kirpius and little
Kirpius did pretty good.
I thought that's what you meant when you said Milwaukee Tool.
That's
oh,
got him. Pork chops on trial. No, but I think like it'd be cool to get like people on. I mean, I think I'm going to start sending like love letters to Jason Momoa and get him to come out. Jason, please come.
Please come and hang out with us.
Jason, please come down on our podcast. Yeah. Jason Momoa, please join our podcast.
Part that I don't know anything about Jason. I mean, I know who he is, Jason Momoa. But I would love to see Jeremy writing some notes about what he getting.
Because I would purposely not do any research on the guy.
Yeah. So Jason, where did you grow up?
So yeah.
What do your parents do? What were you into when you were in elementary school?
Do you know these things? Do you know these
I
things
don't.
about Jason?
I don't.
Then people would probably like to know that.
I think they should. He's a big knucklehead guy. I know. That's all I know.
Bobblehead?
That's true.
Knucklehead.
No.
Oh, loves knuckleheads.
He loves bobbleheads.
Big bobblehead guy. I actually have a very, very healthy bobblehead collection. They're in my basement.
Because
Really?
the Bobblehead
Yes.
Museum is
Really?
here in Milwaukee.
It
If you
is.
come into the Holly
I've been.
120th.
Really? You've
you
been?
stop
I've
by
been.
No
the
way.
Bobblehead
Right,
Museum.
And how is their collection compared to yours?
Mine pales in comparison. They have a quality collection.
The quality
really?
collection of
Quality
bobbleheads.
collection. I have a ramen
but everything you do is quality, so I'm imagining that you
Yeah.
have a pretty decent collection.
No, it's
if you're into
decent. It's in a
bobbleheads.
couple boxes in the basement. They're all in. Well, when I moved out of my parents' house, I took them all with me, and they haven't seen the light of day since. But I put them all in like newspaper.
All right.
They're all hiding.
All right.
It's like my mom's ornament collection.
Totally, absolutely, like her precious moments, just like the precious moments. Or Hummels?
I'm
Did
gonna
your mom
work-
did your mom have Hummels?
Precious moments, not hummus.
Yeah, my mom.
Precious moments now? They're still doing
No,
that?
no, they're probably long gone, but
But
yeah, that was a thing.
Every mom from that era had either Hummels or precious moments.
Yeah.
What does Leah like the bobbleheads?
They're hidden. I don't think she's ever even seen them.
Really?
We've been together for 10 years.
Wow.
And they have not, like,
She's just like, what?
every place, like, there's a box in the basement labeled bobbleheads, and I don't think she's scared to look, which is fair. We're busy people.
Yeah, you guys are busy. I've been to your house. You guys are busy.
I know.
There's a lot going on
It's
when you go over to
chaos.
the Redmonds. Yeah.
Which is beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It
love
is beautiful. You guys are very synchronous. Like, I was over to your house to pick
Yeah.
up something, and then she came home. She was out, but she also had to get on a call.
Yeah.
And it was like there was kid stuff happening.
Yeah.
But like you guys are very like, okay, you
Yeah, that's
Run,
how it is
like,
all
I
the
got
time.
you, yeah,
It's like that all of the time.
yeah.
So we definitely
guys are a great team.
Yeah, we split it up very well. My son now is like in the mix, or he's just like, all right, I'm gonna play this Plants vs Zombies, but I'm gonna watch the baby, so you don't gotta worry about it. I'm like, dude, I probably worry about it.
That's great.
He can only like. He can't even dial the phone, so I think we're in trouble. I was gonna say he could dial the phone slightly better, but he's
You made some good chopper choices though. He's gonna paint the frame.
okay.
gold,
So that's
right?
the other thing you brought it up earlier. So I have a bike that I'm building that he's picking out all the parts for. My 6-year-old is like managing this project.
So it'll look like that Johnny Cash song. You know what I'm talking about?
Boy named
Yeah,
Sue.
boy named Sue.
No,
Oh.
no.
No, the
The stole it one piece at a time.
One piece
Oh
at a
yeah,
time.
yeah, pretty much.
And it doesn't fit.
Out of his lunchbox. He works in the factory. But no, I had this bike that I like started throwing parts at, and I've been kind of putting it on. I've been like making him stand in the garage with me. And like, what do you think? And he's like, I put this gas tank on it that I had. Like, it's an OEM tank design, and he's like, no. And he's like, that's ugly. So I grabbed a different tank, and of course he thought that was cool. So we just kind of running with it.
All right.
That's cool.
Alright.
That's a good.
Yeah.
Are you
good
documenting
thing.
this?
A little bit, but it's like kind of hard to manage that, like to build it and like document it properly. I wish I could, but I just like we're doing it a little bit. By
Did your
little.
kid have a sleeveless black vest?
Not yet.
You can borrow
Well,
Hank's if you
Yeah,
need
really?
one.
I bet Hank does have one.
Yeah.
He seems like I just imagine him in a tiny black vest with like a fucking like just sunglasses.
maybe your daughter will
like-
be pulling into first grade in a black vest.
Yeah, he just rolls up
Yeah.
on his tiny dirt bike. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that kid.
Well, what should I mention? Not word. No, I'm editing this out.
This is you. This
Yeah,
is your
but
show. I'm
what do you mean we
I'm
scratched
but
the
a guest.
surface?
I know, but this is how meta we are. What are the questions we
I'm
should
but a
be asking?
guest. I just work here.
What are
man.
the questions
We did.
What
We
is
did.
we
Re-
be asking?
What is meta?
That's like
It's
when
like
you're
when you zoom
when
out and you're like you break
you're
the fourth wall.
doubling on yourself, doubling back and
you're breaking. Yeah, you're talking.
So like you're questioning yourself and your own.
Well,
like
one thing we can
your-
get into
Are
is-
you going deep enough, kind of thing?
Yeah.
Like when you have mushrooms. You ever
Yeah.
have mushrooms?
All of my mushroom experiences at Mama Tried because of Warren. The first time I met Warren, he gave me mushrooms.
No, we were
Yeah,
talking.
that was how I met Warren.
That's weird. He's never given me any mushrooms.
Missing out.
I know. Can we go back to the health part of the
we
conversation? Because I was going to talk about the mushroom therapy. that,
Mushrooms clean you
know,
out. That's
yeah,
like a thing.
yeah.
That's why I don't do it.
Mental
I think the thing
floss.
that I think the thing we've got to mention is that there's many kinds of mushrooms.
Sure, shiitake
More
is.
of a portobello guy myself.
Yeah.
But mushrooms clean you out. That's
I meant
not
psychedelic
just a
ones.
blanket
I make
statement.
psilocybin mushrooms.
Yeah, the mental floss kind of mushroom.
Well, anyway, we can get into my involvement where I started with you guys.
I like it.
Well,
Wait, remember when
we gotta work
what was
it
it
in.
when we first started working together and you were doing those the interviews at the ballroom?
Yeah, so that was a yeah.
Those are great. Did we do that again this year?
No, because I have more from last year and I still release them and it's awesome.
They're great.
You're building a documentary, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's talk about that. We can talk about that. You asked me about that.
Well, we left off when you were talking. You said the first thing you did when you met these guys was that Bring Your Jacket video.
No, that was like my first involvement into the podcast world.
What was the first time you got involved with these guys?
Was it the first time? That wasn't.
Yeah, no,
That
I think
might
it
have
was
been.
when you started doing the videos.
Yeah, so that's what it was.
You were doing the videos at
I don't even know anymore, like how I got
At
involved.
Eagles
with
Wasn't
those
it through Milwaukee Tool? Like you did something here, and then we talked about.
No, that was after. That was way after because like we had this thing, and I was like, "How can I hook up my friends?" I'm like, "Let's get them some stuff." And
when you did those interviews with Donovan and
yeah, I think I just
and-
I think I just cold called you guys, and because I knew you a little bit from passing, Logan back there. But like, I think I was just like, "Hey, I do this thing. These are my videos." I think you guys like knew about them or something, and then you set up all those interviews, and of the like 8 or 9, I think I put out 7. And I think I have 2 more that I just put out. It's funny because after the show, I just put out that one with Speed Kings about his bagger from the last show. And then now I'm actually going out there in August to like do like a full feature with him in his shop, which is
that's cool.
Yeah. So
that's super
and
cool.
I guess I just got involved because I always liked the show. But how do we tie this back in now? I'm trying to think of from it.
When I first met you, you were working for Lowbrow.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay, rewind. So when I first got involved with the show, Lowbrow, this is how it started. I cold emailed Lowbrow from their website. They have a thing where like contact us, and I was like, I do these videos, please sponsor me. And they were like, okay. They eventually they emailed me back, and
Those guys are great.
Yeah, they were just like, sure, cool, fantastic. So I was doing this thing for a while where like I would make a video for them, and then I'd make a separate version for myself. And Geared Science has always been like mostly just me. I had my buddy Zach who lived here for a while. He was involved.
Oh, yeah.
And he was great. And he was I'm trying to find more ways to get him back involved. But
Is he still around?
no, he's in Pennsylvania again. When I worked for Milwaukee Tool, they brought him in. He and I that's the weird thing of like working with the corporation where like a lot of people that work in corporations just want to like show up, get paid, and leave. Where like I do video because I love it and I'm very like obsessed with it. So I'll do like video stuff, but I'm also obsessed with the things that I want to video. So like that's why I do motorcycles. Love motorcycles, love video. And he just loved doing video. So he'd show up and like just do anything we had to do, he'd come do it. So when Lowbrow hired me to do the One Mama Tried show, he helped me do all these videos, and then that was the year where it was December, March. We had like a couple
that's right.
12 weeks off.
Yeah.
To go do the next show. So that was really fun. But I had my first foray, now it's come back to me. My first foray was when I emailed whoever's in charge of the media passes for you guys. In
Becca?
19, 20,
Oh.
20.
Becca.
And I was in New York City scheduled to come back that day to do Mama Tried. That's when I got canceled. And that was when we did that interview. Well, we did the interview later, like a year later, but how Boonie Bikes Saved Christmas. I said,
It's a children's book.
yeah, Boonie
a
Bikes
great-
saved Christmas. But Boonie Bikes did save the 2020 experience, I think, for anyone
Yeah.
who came in or out of town.
They did.
And but the following show though, I did a whole docu, and I've got it. I'm working on it right now. Where I'm really trying to do it's my opus.
A documentary on Mama Tried.
Yeah, and Flat Out Friday.
Oh,
Yeah,
really? Like
so-
a full-length feature.
Yeah, it's like right now I'm at like 45 minutes of
What's a full-length feature time?
I don't know, 90 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, I've always been like when I was here, people like Evan made that his fast and left and took him however long it took him to do it, and it's a beautiful film. It's really good. I'm just like I don't have that kind of patience. Like he spent years to do it, and I just don't have that kind of patience. So I just like try to like make these little mini docus throughout, and then I watch his thing, and I'm just like I'm terrible at what I do. I watched that. I've watched Fast and Left a bunch of times. And I'm just
It is a great film.
God, I'm terrible.
It's a really great film.
So I just like
It's you think that his I'm not criticizing Evan. I think it's a great movie too. But I'm zooming in. Why you think that's so great? Because the visuals, or because of the story that's being told?
Both. I think he's a good storyteller, and like, but he's also like a good classic artist where like he spent a lot of time to do this narrative and stuff. I don't have that kind of patience, so I'm like this person that also likes to want. Anyway, what I'm tying it back into is that the fact that I have this thing for Mama Tried that I'm trying to channel my inner Evan Sen and like take my time with it and like really get to this cool feature where I've got like, it's the edited content I have right now is like 45 minutes, and I've been talking to you guys for however long about sitting down and doing more like narrative bits to kind of explain things. So I've got it through like the part where you're like organizing the bikes and like how they go into the show, but that's also the year where there was like platform to platform, like all the platforms are touching. So that'll be fun. But I think like just explaining, like to me, having seen it and getting everyone's little bits and following them around all day was really fun. Like to just
That
like
was cool.
see it. Stacy's commentary was really great when she's setting up the merch.
I'm looking forward to seeing this.
Yeah, it's been really good. Like, I tried to follow you around. You were like, it's funny because when you get in your like mode, your zone.
That guy's
I was like,
dead.
Warren, what are you doing? You're like, I was like, Jeremy, what are you doing? And you're like, oh, and then you kind of snap out of it for a second to narrate to me for a moment. And
He's
then,
got
like, can I get some
headphones on.
comments? And you're just like,
If he's got headphones on, like, don't even bother. First of all,
Well, I have an idea for a script for your movie, your Mama Tried
Please.
movie. Yeah, here it goes a little something like this. This will only take about 45 minutes. As I read my
it all
script.
began when I was a boy.
But a young, strapping lad moves to Wisconsin from Illinois and gets caught in the seedy underworld of show production with Scott.
Great. Yeah. I guess we could probably use Max as like a child actor.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
There you go.
I want to see Warren as a child, like a docudrama, and Scott.
I'll make the pitch to Netflix, and we can probably get it.
Okay.
that would be
They
funny.
give away those things.
We have Max and Henry do both characters.
They're jumping BMX bikes with a banana seat.
Hank's
That would be
riding
Scott.
his Stasic
I
now.
saw
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, he's on green already.
Ripper.
Oh, does he have the 12 or the 16?
12.
I
He got on Max's 20, or tried to.
So, a sidebar about the Stasic. This is another plug for Stasic. What a fucking fantastic little thing they are.
Yeah.
At the Jefferson swap meet, I took my son's 16, and I took that thing everywhere. I didn't ride anywhere, and I just
Had enough juice to like ride you around.
dude, it helped.
Yeah, for a 16. That's
I'm
a lot.
like for a 16, I look like a clown car, and I'm just like running like on this tiny little bike. I'm like, move over, virgins.
You didn't smell battery or motor?
Oh no, those batteries like with my son, if he wanted to ride it, dude, all day long. They lasted a good hour for me.
Yeah.
Pretty good though.
Yeah.
You can send Max to town for milk on that.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Oh, for sure.
Easily. You'll hear
All
him
that.
coming too.
I cut you off there. Did you finish everything you wanted to say about this documentary? And by the way, I was never disrespecting it. I legitimately am excited about this
No,
documentary.
yes,
and I really appreciate your time being put into it because
Yeah.
this
So-
is certainly a labor of love, and
Yeah.
and it's great to see how much you love the labor.
yeah. I'm addicted to punishment.
Do you really enjoy editing? Like when you're like doing? Like when
it's a
you're-
love-hate.
Like what's the part that you love the most? Like is it the gear? Is it the setup? Is it like?
So I'm like a big gear nerd too. Like I love to have like, I don't know. I love my cameras. Like I love the camera part. I love shooting. I'm like a weird, strange bird where like, I love shooting and editing. Where like, I like to put the story together. That's always fun for me. But like, I've met people in my professional career that only love to do one or the other, and I don't know how they can live the life they live. Because like, especially working for like corporate videos and stuff like that. When I worked at Milwaukee, like the guys that were shooting by guys and girls that were shooting, on set and like shooting it on job sites all the time. Like, I don't know how they did it all the time. I'm a person who can't like, I get bored of something.
Right.
Like, so I have to have balance. I go shoot, I edit, I go shot. So I can be an outdoor kid for a week. I'll be an indoor kid for a week, outdoor kid for a week, indoor kid for a week. So the documentary though, I love putting the story together. I love kind of like, I find stuff. What's fun for me is like when I shoot something like this, like that is of this magnitude, I love to like let it sit for a while and forget about it. And then when I come back to it, it's all fresh. So I'm like, oh, I forgot they said this.
Right. You
know,
don't
like,
take. Do you take notes ever? Like when you're
Sometimes-
watching.
when I'm watching stuff, I'll do, but like, for
Like
me,
when
it's
you're
kind of fun
recording
to
this.
be like, it's kind of put the story together. I'm like, okay, I'm looking for this, and I'll go search for it in all my stuff. So it's kind of being an editor is weird. You kind of like shut the windows and
Yeah.
lock yourself in.
Yeah. Get in the zone.
It's pretty much it.
You seem hyper organized. Are you making a script, like logically thinking it out, or is it just all feel and organic, like a guitar solo?
Yeah, it's kind of more like that. I am like, I try to be as organized. So the only things that I'm like militantly organized with is my file structure. So in my computer, like when I offload things, so I'll shoot these. I make a folder of what day it was shot, what camera it was shot on, and what person it was shot with. I've worked at big operations with corporations and stuff where like, you have a guy that like goes through it and will like say it was this person's in the shot, they're doing this is the weather, that sort of thing. I can't get that deep because I don't have the time, but I at least like organize all my folders in ways.
Sure.
So when I do the shows, like the last show I did with Zach, we organized everything. And then when we just shot was I organized it by day, camera, person, and time. So like
The person shooting it.
Mm-hmm. So if I'm there for the shoot, I'll know, oh, Logan was shooting this, Evan was shooting this, I was shooting this, and this is where and then I can kind of figure out like, okay, Logan, or, Evan was standing on top of the van, Logan was down in the pits, I was over here, so I can kind of be like, okay, I want a shot of this, I can kind of look for it. And when so now months removed, if I wanted to go back and make a video about Elwoods, I can go back and like put a cool, diverse video together using all of our footage quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of, I guess, the hyper organization comes from. It's just
Sure.
kind of my file structure.
I appreciate you pulling back the curtain.
Yeah, try to.
Yeah.
And it makes me just realize how much I unappreciate you, or how I don't really, for a 15-second video that you and Logan make, or is hours of work.
It's a whole thing. Yeah.
These podcasts I know are hours of your time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love doing them.
You just slapped me across the face with that, and I appreciate it.
It's a good time. Well, it's fun because like these especially, where like we can kind of shoot them, and like I like to figure out who's talking when, and then kind of cut to the person. It's a nice little touch for people that are watching on YouTube.
Yeah.
But the cuts it benefits the audio cuts too, because then you can kind of cut out certain things and send them through. And
Yeah.
Let me ask you one more question. Everybody here, Warren, do you listen to podcasts?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's a good podcast?
I like Rogan.
Well, why is he a good podcast? Why is he the
He's
quintessential podcast guy?
I think I don't know. I think the way that he goes about things, he's just very blunt and honest with things, and he goes pretty deep, and he's very knowledgeable. He knows a lot of shit. So
Does he know shit, or does he have someone
no,
chirping that
I
shit in
think
his ear?
I think he's that guy that's like he's a facts guy, and he's into so much different shit.
I like listening to him a lot too, because like that's one of my main ones I listen to. But it's like it's kind of fun because like the diversity of people that go on to it. And again, he's one of those people that like they just did it for the sake of doing it, and they just keep doing their podcast. They do it the way they want to do it, and it worked out. Other people do it and it doesn't work out. But what I'm saying is that like I think he has a good way of like just being like, I don't know, so teach me.
Yeah,
And that's a big thing.
yeah. He's open to hearing and listening. He doesn't force his shit down anybody's throat, and he lets whoever's talking across from him talk, and they have a great conversation. It could be oil and water, and it still works.
Scott, you're smart. What do you listen to?
That's debatable. What do I listen to? I do listen to a lot of podcasts, but I don't really have a favorite, to be honest.
What's a podcast that you listen to?
The Ezra Klein show. I really, really love, but also hate hardcore history with.
Yeah.
But the dude just goes on.
The George
Carlin? It's
Not George
Dan
Carlin. Dan Carlin.
Yeah.
You listen to Radio Lab at all?
Yes, that's a
It's a
great
good one.
It's a really good one.
I like Danger Dan's podcast a lot.
Yeah.
He's
funny
great.
because I didn't find out about it till you guys did the one with him, and then I reached. He actually calls me like every fairly often, so we'll talk and we'll kind of go back and forth with it. But his shit's crazy because he's a wild animal too.
Yeah, he is a wild animal. He's great.
What about you, Brock?
I wasn't
Besides
expecting
the
that.
Civil War.
Was the Civil War? There's one about learning about your mental health called Adult Chair.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
I don't know.
Keith Morris has a podcast.
Really?
It's about aliens and the CIA. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
Who's Keith Morris?
He was a singer, a punk rock singer, the Black Flag, and then the Circle Jerks.
Got it.
To me, I really like Danger Dan, and I like his tone, but I like to listen to podcasts when I'm sleeping, and he always makes me laugh so hard. I like to listen to Danger Dan when I'm driving.
Yeah, he's a good driver guy.
Yeah, he's great.
Well, sidebar, hold on. One thing, this is the last thing, and I'll get into being an event promoter type thing of as you guys all are. I draw a lot of inspiration from you guys. So I do a lot of event promotion stuff, and I love to see how you guys run your operation. So it helps me out as well. So
well, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Again, I'm not fishing for compliments. What have you learned from watching and hanging out with us as a business promoter?
I think some of it too is mostly the zooming out part where you guys kind of like, I kind of tend to micromanage my events, or did, and I try not to anymore, which is also helpful because like I do an emo party every month called Sad Boy Saturday, and we're doing
at Elwood's.
Not at Elwood's. No, that's their own thing.
Taking Back Sunday.
No, that's their own thing. We call Sad Boy Saturday. We're at mostly the Miramar, and we do.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, we've been in talks with Elwood's. We'll do something with them eventually.
Okay,
but we're doing something at Summerfest, which is going to be huge.
Really?
They asked us. Yeah,
Wow.
we're headlining a stage at Summerfest.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but my point is though, I used to be so.
Wait, what's the format? Sorry to interrupt.
I have a friend. I promote, do all the businessy things, and then my friend Sammy DJs, and he puts on the playlist, and he's kind of like the entertainment, and he's like a very colorful person.
What's the vibe?
Our whole vibe is inclusivity, fun.
Yeah.
That's one other big thing that I think we draw. We've done our own thing, but I think that's kind of fun to draw from you guys too. Is like diversity, inclusivity, everyone's a welcome kind of thing.
What kind of music?
Emo, like early 2000s, like.
Again, you're throwing this around like it's old history.
Yeah.
2000 is not long ago for Scott and I. Okay.
Okay. So like, Dashboard Confessional.
Okay. Promise Ring.
Promise Ring. Shout out to Scott.
That's a band name? Or you say we're getting meta again?
No. Shout out to Scott from Promise Ring and Dashboard also.
All right, that's right.
Davey
was my neighbor for a really long time.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
From Promise
Great
Ring.
band.
Yeah.
Great band. Saves a day.
Okay.
Taking Back Sunday, that kind of thing. But
well, if there's anything that we can do for you, you let us know.
you come out. Well, you come out. Let's get weird. It's funny because like the emo crowd, like the motorcycle crowd, is overlapping more and more these days.
Because the age, I think punk rock, the philosophy is still there, but the name has changed.
Yeah.
Whether it be emo, but it's
Sure.
still that DIY. The music's a little softer.
Emo hardcore.
Yeah, that's because you added hardcore. Doesn't make it any more less.
Okay. Okay, sure.
There was this hit band called
Poisonous
309
Flowers.
Chorus back in the day. I don't know if
God.
I don't know if
We're getting off the
they
rails
work.
here.
Yeah.
Well, let me conclude. I appreciate everything that you do. I'm concluding. I'm summarizing. I appreciate everything that you've done for us. I appreciate everything that you currently do as the professional manner you do it in. You're an inspiration to us. Bold statement.
Exactly.
wow.
I feel like Brian is not only just our AV guy, but you're kind of Jeremy's our philosophy manager, but you kind of manage the philosophy, I guess.
Whoa.
So
The Jeremy Wrangler.
A Jeremy Handler. I like that.
you take the philosophy and you make sure
I'll find out something to do with
it gets implemented.
Which, by the way, we'll find some more stuff to do. We'll make the video for the giveaway bike.
That's right.
It's gonna be cool.
Spoiler
Yeah,
alert. We'll go
yeah.
pick it up.
All right. Yeah.
We probably should.
Hold on.
get it.
We'll come to that right after our meeting.
Yeah. Anyway.
But I do want to add us a little bit of a new part to our podcast,
Okay.
if we can. First of all, I forgot to mention that you have to like and subscribe and comment.
Yes, please.
Please.
That's how these things propagate. This is how this works. If you like what we're doing, then you have to help us by propagating, by sharing
There's
it.
a big
Leave a review
cornfield
on
of
Apple.
podcasts out there, so we gotta.
Yes.
Ring the bell.
Let us come to the
Ring the bell.
Ring to the top. All right, but here's the new part. I want to just kind of summarize. There's some other events going on that are in our orbit, our world. We have a chopper run on July 21st to the 24th to go to my hometown. I'm really excited to show you
Calumet,
guys.
Michigan. It's a
to show
long
you
way.
guys.
Is that the UP?
It's beautiful up there.
Fairly
Okay.
ambitious.
It's
to
very
be honest
ambitious,
with you.
yeah.
Okay. Like,
There's more
not
than
like
5
I've
people.
ever done anything ambitious.
And there will be team A, B, C, maybe even a D.
We'll talk about it after this, and
Yeah.
we'll plan it out. But also, I want to mention you're wearing the Against the Wind shirt. What's the Against the Wind, Scott? What's
It's
that?
a big motorcycle show in Brazil.
It's coming up. You know when it is?
You could almost say it's the Born Free of Brazil.
Whoa, bold
That's
statement.
a bold statement. It's coming up. It's this weekend, next weekend.
June 10th.
We got a ways away. Are we
you making an appearance?
going? Yeah, are you going?
No.
I'm not going.
No.
I want to go.
I
But
wanted to go, and I made plans to go, and I told him that I can't go.
Fail.
Yeah. but maybe next year. It's a cool show.
So that's the part of the segment. Maybe there's like a little music you could play for that. Things.
I want to add one where there's
up.
like the same 4 questions at the end, and you ask everybody.
Okay. We'll
What
have
color's
to
your
write that down.
underwear?
Let's write those down. Anyway.
Let's let Brian from Geared Science.
Brian, thanks.
Hey,
thanks, buddy.
Happy to be here. All right.
What's your favorite food at a gas station?
Let's kill it.
Okay, there you go.
Get this.
Wait.
You take a tornado, you put it in a hot dog bun with chili underneath it and ketchup on top.
Oh, that's
Oh, that's a mic
quick trip.
dropper right there. Yeah.